Jalen Ramsey on the trade block earlier today, a major headline shook the NFL world. One of the league's top cornerbacks is officially on the trade block. Jalen Ramsey, a seven-time Pro Bowler, is expected to be on the move. According to reports from Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero, both Ramsey and the Miami Dolphins have agreed to explore trade options. While it's not confirmed yet, signs are pointing to him wearing a different uniform in 2025. Dolphins general manager Chris Grier confirmed the direction the team is heading, stating, "We decided it was probably in the best interest for all parties to move forward separately." That pretty much signals the end of Ramsey's time in Miami. It's a surprising twist, considering the Dolphins traded for Ramsey less than 2 years ago. He spent 2 seasons in South Beach, but the tides have changed. Miami's former defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio, left in 2024 to join the Eagles, and the defense began to feel like a mix of talented pieces that just didn't quite fit for long-term success. With high-priced stars like Tyreek Hill and Ramsey on the books, and a wave of younger players due for new contracts, the Dolphins are clearly headed into a reset. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The Las Vegas Raiders should absolutely be in the conversation. With PeteCarroll bringing in his defensive philosophy, Ramsey would be a near-perfect fit. The Raiders are already making moves that reflect a shift in scheme. They extended versatile safety Isaiah Pola-Mao, who can line up just about anywhere on the field, at linebacker, slot corner, or even in the A-gap. He's exactly the type of hybrid defender Carroll has loved in the past, just like Cam Chancellor or Jamal Adams during his time in Seattle. In addition to Pola-Mao, the Raiders signed Jeremy Chin, another Swiss Army knife-type defender. They also picked up Eric Stokes, a long physical corner at 6 feet 1 inch, with the size that fits a zone-heavy scheme. That's where Ramsey fits in perfectly. He's a long physical corner who thrives in zone coverage. He may not be the fastest guy on the field, but with this defensive philosophy, that's not a problem. It's less about speed and more about instincts, toughness, and physicality, areas where Ramsey still excels. Despite the shifting schemes he's played under in recent years, Ramsey was still productive last season. He allowed just 70% of targets to be caught for 546 yards, surrendered only 2 touchdowns, grabbed 2 interceptions, and had 5 pass breakups. If the Raiders are serious about retooling their defense the PeteCarroll way, targeting Ramsey might be a game-changing move. What it would cost to get Jalen Ramsey, and why the Raiders should make the call. At 30 years old, Jalen Ramsey might not be in the absolute peak of his career, but he's still a high-level player, and potentially a huge value pickup. Given his age and contract situation, this wouldn't be a blockbuster trade in terms of draft capital. The Dolphins likely wouldn't get a first, second, or even a third-round pick. A fourth-rounder might be the ceiling, and it's very possible Ramsey could be had for even less. If you're the Raiders, why not offer a mid-round pick from next year's draft? It's a low-risk move for a player who could still bring Pro Bowl-level play and leadership to your defense. Let's talk numbers. Ramsey's cap hit for 2025 is $16.6 million. That's what the Raiders would take on if they traded for him. Because Las Vegas wasn't the team that originally signed the deal, they wouldn't be responsible for any of the Dolphins' dead cap penalties. If Miami cuts ties with Ramsey, they're the ones who eat the financial hit, $18.4 million in dead money. So for the Raiders, this is essentially a 1-year deal worth $16.6 million. But there's flexibility here too. If the team likes what they see, they could extend him. Let's say they tack on another year for $25 million. Suddenly you're looking at 2 years of Ramsey at an average of around $20 to $21 million per year. That's a very manageable contract for a player of his caliber. And here's another angle to consider: a position switch. NFL great Asante Samuel recently said something interesting. He believes Ramsey could be even more productive as a safety at this stage of his career. Think about it. Charles Woodson made the same move late in his playing days, and he turned in some of the best seasons of his career from the safety spot. Ramsey has the intelligence, instincts, and field vision to make a similar transition. He's the kind of player who can read quarterbacks, bait them into bad throws, and change games. That flexibility makes him even more valuable. Whether he lines up as a post safety or sticks to the outside as a boundary corner in PeteCarroll's zone-heavy system, Ramsey could bring a huge boost to the Raiders' secondary. There's no question the Raiders could use a true center field type safety, and Ramsey, even if he's lost a step, still has the range, awareness, and physicality to handle the job. Now, of course, this all depends on the Raiders' cap situation and whether the front office wants to pull the trigger. But keep this in mind. Ramsey has expressed interest in playing for the Raiders in the past. Back when his rookie deal ended in Jacksonville, there were reports he wanted to land in silver and black. He didn't hide it either. He was vocal about wanting to be in Oakland, now Las Vegas. He said it loud and clear, "Please get me there." The Raiders made an offer back then, but things didn't line up. Now, the opportunity is back on the table, and the timing might finally be right. General Manager Tom Telesco and head coach PeteCarroll have taken a measured approach to roster building so far. They've stayed conservative. But sometimes, smart planning is exactly what positions a team to make a move like this when the right player becomes available. And Jalen Ramsey? He might just be that guy. Why Ramsey isn't the last star to hit the trade block, and Max Crosby takes a leadership role off the field. Let's face it, Jalen Ramsey won't be the last big-name player to hit the trade market. In today's NFL, with the salary cap constantly shifting and younger talent always on the rise, we'll continue to see stars made available more often than ever. Just look back a couple of seasons. Devontae Adams became available, and the Raiders paid a hefty price to get him. Now, to be fair, that may have been a bit of an overpay. But Ramsey, he's not going to cost that kind of draft capital or command a massive contract anymore. And where the Raiders stand today, this could be the perfect time to grab a player like him. He can still produce at a high level and would bring immediate value. We'll see how it plays out, but Ramsey isn't the only story right now. Max Crosby becomes a trailblazer. Off the field shout-out to Max Crosby, one of the best edge rushers in the game and a true cornerstone of the Raiders' defense. He just made history off the field, becoming the first active NFL player to be named an assistant general manager for football at Eastern Michigan University, his alma mater. In this new role, Crosby will help evaluate high school and transfer portal prospects and assist with the school's NIL, name, image, and likeness efforts. He's essentially stepping into a leadership and recruiting position while still dominating on Sundays for the Raiders. Crosby even shared his goal of turning Eastern Michigan into a powerhouse for developing elite pass rushers, and he's giving full access to himself as a mentor for anyone who commits to the program. With the way NIL has reshaped college football, someone like Crosby, who can help fundraise, donate, and open doors, can truly change the trajectory of a program. Eastern Michigan already has a few NFL players under its belt, and now, with Max leading the charge, the sky's the limit. Some fans have questioned whether this side project will distract him from his goal of winning a Super Bowl in Las Vegas. But let's be real, Crosby is one of the hardest working players in the league. He's launched a podcast, taken on off-field leadership roles, and still delivers elite performances every week. If anything, this move shows how locked in he is on building a lasting football legacy. One day, don't be surprised if you see Max Crosby become an actual NFL GM. He's already laying the groundwork. Travis Hunter makes his NFL intentions clear. Colorado standout Travis Hunter recently made headlines of his own. In a podcast interview, Hunter stated that if an NFL team tries to limit him to one side of the ball, either offense or defense, he won't play for them. He's made it clear he wants to continue playing both cornerback and wide receiver at the next level. So far, according to Hunter, no teams have raised objections to that plan. Why does this matter for the Raiders? Well, depending on how the draft shakes out, Hunter could be available when they're on the clock. While that might sound like a long shot, several quarterbacks are expected to go early in the draft. And if teams like the Saints trade up due to quarterback needs, it could push top-tier prospects like Hunter further down the board. There's also growing buzz around New Orleans' situation with Derek Carr. Some reports suggest Carr may be on the outs or even stepping away from the team, which would make the Saints a candidate to trade up for a quarterback. If that happens, more skilled players could fall into the Raiders' range. And speaking of quarterbacks, Las Vegas has brought in several for evaluation, which shows they're at least exploring all their options. But if a player like Travis Hunter is sitting there when they pick, it'll be very hard to pass up that kind of talent and versatility. Draft dominoes, the quarterback market, and a bold vision for Travis Hunter. The Raiders have done their homework. They've spoken with all the top quarterbacks in this draft. If they're seriously in the market for one, that could spark a ripple effect across the top 10. It would mean teams like the Saints, who also need a quarterback, might have to trade up. And when that happens, someone else, maybe a team that doesn't need a quarterback, would need to move back. That opens the door for more flexibility at the top of the board. Let's look at how things could play out. Right now, many believe CamWard is the favorite to go #1 overall. After that, the Browns could go with Abdul Carter, an edge rusher with serious upside. But don't rule out Travis Hunter either, especially if Cleveland wants to add a dynamic weapon at wide receiver. Pairing Carter with Myles Garrett on the edge would be scary for opposing offenses. Then there's the Giants, picking at #3. Some insiders believe they might go quarterback too. They've met with guys like Jalen Milroe and Tyler Stowe from Louisville. Now, those names might surprise people, especially being considered as potential top 10 picks, but crazier things have happened. Remember Mitchell Trubisky? Bottom line, if multiple quarterbacks go early, that could push a player like Travis Hunter right into the Raiders' lap. The dream scenario: Hunter, Ramsey, and the next-gen Raiders defense. Now imagine this: the Raiders trade for Jalen Ramsey. Jacorian Bennett continues to develop on the outside, and then they draft Travis Hunter, who plays full-time defense but gets sprinkled in for around 12 offensive snaps a game. You put him in on third and long, red zone, or key moments when you need a spark. Suddenly, you're not just getting a cornerback, you're getting a game changer. But here's where it gets even more interesting. If I'm drafting Travis Hunter, I'm drafting him as a wide receiver first. Why? Because great corners are found every year in rounds 2, 3, even 4. As good as Hunter is at corner, he's special at wideout. And in today's game, difference makers at receiver tilt the field. Unless you're someone like Derek Stingley Jr. or Jalen Ramsey coming out, most teams won't spend a top 10 pick on a corner. But a wide receiver with Hunter's versatility, speed, and natural playmaking ability, that's a top-tier value. And honestly, Hunter saying he won't play for any team that tries to box him into just one role, that might actually help the Raiders. It could make teams hesitate, maybe enough for him to slide to pick 6. And if that happens, Las Vegas needs to be ready. Inside info from the Panthers front office. And then there's the Saints situation with Derek Carr. It's getting more complicated by the day. After news of Carr's shoulder injury broke, Panthers GM Dan Morgan, who holds the 8th overall pick, said his phone didn't blow up with calls from teams trying to move up. But his follow-up? That's where things get interesting. He said, "We'll be waiting if somebody wants to come up." Now think about that. If no one's calling the Panthers yet, it might be because they're waiting for the right moment. No one wants to make a move now and give the Saints a chance to leapfrog them. But the fact that the Panthers are making it publicly known they're willing to trade tells us one thing. There are teams out there who want quarterbacks. They're just waiting for the right time. And the Raiders? They're in the middle of all of it. A quarterback-rich draft and the Raiders' golden opportunity. This year's draft class, it's deep, especially at quarterback. Not just the top-tier names, but the developmental guys too. Players who may not start right away but could turn into real contributors with the right coaching and patience. So for teams like the Dolphins, the Steelers, or even the Jets, who've already committed to a quarterback for 2025, this could be the perfect time to stash a young QB with potential. And if they like someone enough, they might even be willing to trade up and grab their future starter now. But here's the thing. The Raiders are in a great spot at pick #6. They don't need to overthink it. They can sit tight and hope the teams above them start to scramble for quarterbacks. Because if that happens, it could push one of the top non-QB prospects, like Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter, right into Las Vegas's hands. Either way, the board will likely break in the Raiders' favor. They just need to let the chaos unfold ahead of them. Your move, RaiderNation. Now here's the fun part. Imagine Travis Hunter slipping to 6, or Jalen Ramsey becomes available. Would you make the move? What if Will Johnson is also on the board, and he turns out to be the next lockdown corner? Pair him with Ramsey, and suddenly you've got one of the best secondaries in football. Of course, it's all projection. It's hard to know which college players will truly shine in the NFL. That's the gamble of the draft. And hey, I'll be honest with you. I don't pretend to be a cornerback guru. I don't watch film all day and grade hips, footwork, or how well they sink in zone coverage. That's not my thing. But I do know this. The Raiders have options, and they're in a prime position to add a game-changing piece. Let me know what you think. Should the Raiders go after Hunter? Do you want Ramsey in silver and black? Or would you rather gamble on someone like Will Johnson?